lot of times in shows like this, what you'll see is a character who can sort of slide in and disappear into a situation. I wanted a guy who walked into a room and every head turned, because this guy is elegant and he's sophisticated and he's smart and he loves the attention.
You can get me out of here. I can be released into your custody. I'll help you catch him.
When it came to really taking that character from paper and trying to turn it into a flesh and blood human, it was a difficult task. We spent probably 6 months casting Neal.
What always fascinated me about Neal was that he had this dichotomy about him. On one hand, he was this hyper-intelligent, suave, sophisticated, self-educated individual.
It's a forgery.
That's not possible. What are you talking about?
It's the ink. This is iron gal dye mixed to match period colors, but it hasn't dried yet. You can still smell the gum arabic. But then on the other side, he was a big kid who was, constantly testing his boundaries, didn't really understand the concept of no, was always seeing what he could get away with.
If you run and I catch you, you're back here for good.
From day one, Neal's character comes in and makes a statement. And funny enough, Matt does that in his own life. So he's really perfectly cast.
What I really wanted with Neal was a guy who was a Renaissance man.
What kind of a con man are you?
Neal Caffrey knows art, he knows wine, he knows a number of these things, and he likes them.
If you are ever in the mood to discuss medieval manuscripts.
You'd be surprised how often I'm in the mood for that.
Neal Caffrey lives by charming people. And that is his talent, is he can get anyone to do anything for him at any time and talk himself into any situation.
Unbelievable.
Neal's character is who we all would love to be.
What's going on?
It just became a very beautiful crime scene.
Matt really has become Neal Caffrey. I can't imagine anyone else ever playing this character.
What's great about Matt is that he has an open face and an open heart. So when you're looking into his eyes and you're doing a scene with him, he's an open canvas, and that's very attractive to people, and it's also very easy to work with.
You probably have no idea who I am, so I'm gonna tell you.
He's got that that just undenying charm that you just can't get rid of. He's just very charismatic. You kind of get lost in his look and his eyes.
First and foremost, Matt Bomer is an actor who happens to be incredibly good looking.
The People magazine thing was completely out of the blue and a great surprise.
The reaction was that we weren't surprised.
My mom paid him, I think, $500 for the honor.
What's there to say? Matt's a good-looking guy.
Just because someone's accused of doing something, it doesn't mean that that person is guilty, right?
Define guilty.
You really think he's the best person to ask?
The buddy cop scenario is very essential in our show because it's the main story of the show. You see how different they are.
There's this very straight-laced, by-the-book FBI agent, and this devil-may-care, dashing, charming criminal.
Glad we followed your hunch. Hope it takes us somewhere.
The entire show really hinges on the chemistry between these two guys. And Gail Pillsbury, who's my casting director, came to me and said, we have a chance to get Tim Dekay for Peter. And I'd known him from Carnival. I thought he was an exceptionally good actor. So we brought him in, we really liked him, and the next step was to have a chemistry read between him and Matt.
The first time Tim and I read together, the second he left the room, I said, that's the guy.
Very quickly, you realize these guys, they mesh. The timing was just right on, and they got each other.
You're gonna think I'm crazy.
Never stopped you before.
The chemistry thing, we just got lucky. We did. In order to have chemistry, you need to be able to give somebody something so that they can catch it, and it's fun to watch them catch it and see them throw it back to you.
Tim's just such a wonderful actor that I feel really comfortable with him.
Tim brings a real intelligence and an honesty to the role.
All my girlfriends want to date Matt, but they all want to marry Tim.
He has this amazing sort of Midwestern wholesomeness about him that really makes you believe that a character like Burke could empathize with someone like Neal.
Come on, Neal. You gotta trust me.
There's always that line with Neal and Peter of they can never really trust each other 100%, but they know they really like each other.
You trust me? Nope.
Criminals really don't have very many boundaries. So when you are working with a cooperating witness that is trying to mitigate or minimize his jail time, you really don't have total control over what they're doing.
Neal, I don't know what you're up to, but whatever it is, stop.
Peter gets frustrated with Neal, but it's that frustration of, oh, this is not the right way to go about it, but I know you're helping solve the case.
You want to know what I found?
No.
She got rattled when she heard FBI. She went to her desk and locked something in the top drawer.
Oh,
I
God.
didn't steal it. Photocopied it.
Neal would end up back in prison in 5 seconds if he didn't have Peter. So that makes a very playful, honest relationship. They know they need each other.
Why is it so hard for you to believe that he'll do the right thing?
Let's just say that's not his first instinct.
And trust isn't yours.
Occupational hazard.
I think in the beginning there was hardly any trust, but episode by episode, I think you start to see that they're becoming a little more friendly with each other, where they actually do count on each other, because they've had to quite often in episodes.
You think he did it?
A lot of money is always a lot of motive.
It's a little bit of a dance, but here's two guys who, if you think about it, it's like they've got everything in common. They both know the same work, and they both, in a way, have the same skill sets. So you want to talk about the intricacies of forging a Monet? Well, guess what? You can go talk to your agent friend because he knows those too. So what you end up with are people whose interests overlap, and so you can really have these deep emotional connections between an agent and the source.
Our jobs are a lot easier when you run with us, not from us.
I'll drink to that.